So what I'm doing now is putting deck tiebacks on. I just drilled the hole. Now we'll run the ready rod through. Get a general idea where our tieback goes into. And that's all a deck tieback is. And to get 4 of them for this thing, it was $110 by the time you added in the ready rod, the nuts and washers. So some pricey little son of a guns. And now we'll do that once the front deck goes on out here. We will do it to the side of that joist once again. So I'll put on the other 3. And this baby should be ready to insulate. There. Those are all in now. So the deck is actually ready to be insulated with the fiberglass insulation or the bats. But, as I said earlier, I think the rest of the day is going to be spent unloading material. I've got to scrape that top sheet off, and I'm going to slide all them sheets underneath this blue tarp for the time being. And then I got to go unload that truck. So that should be pretty much the rest of my day. Okay guys, don't let the sunny blue sky fool you. It's 15 degrees here, slight breeze and very frosty. Although it is supposed to get up to 30 today, so with luck. The rest of this week is supposed to be a slight warm up. Might even see 45 or 48 on Saturday. So with luck, some of this white stuff will dissipate a little bit. So last time I was down here, we got the double layer 3/4 inch polyiso on. Spray foam the edges for 1 to glue it in, and then 2 for just sealing up any of the air gaps, keeping bugs and mice and crap out from the inside of it. And we also got our deck hold downs or tie downs run through, so I'm able to at least attach the deck securely, keep everything from shifting around. We got our rafter ties on, the joist to hold to the beams, and I didn't film it, but I also screwed the beams down to the joist. So now today's agenda will be getting this thing insulated with the R19. They were supposed to give me unfaced bats, but they gave me face, so that might just work out as well in case any moisture gets down. It'll sit on top of the paper versus penetrating into the fiberglass insulation. So stay tuned. Now, when you're insulating, you don't want to stuff it tight. The dead air space in between the fiberglass particles or fiberglass is what actually gives you your R value. If you start cramming it in and keeping it tight, you lose the R value. So you just want it to sit snug against all the wood surfaces, but at the same time not being pushed into it. It's the same thing around windows and doors. If you stuff insulation in it, you lose the actual R value out of it. $50 or $60% of building is nothing but moving material. So once again, time to move the sheeting for the floor over to that corner so I can finish insulating, snap the line, and start laying that. Okay guys, that didn't take too long. Now as you see, it's just loosely laid in there, and it'll slowly start to expand to its full 5.5 or 6 inch width. I couldn't run the vapor barrier up and over because I'm gluing the sheets down. So I'm going to see if I can get this decking on now, and with luck, that'll go fairly easy. I got a couple pieces that I have to cut into 4s, but other than that it should work out nice. I'm sure I'm going to have to do some scraping on some of those sheets. As you recall, I said I had them in the back of my truck and got snowed on. But I found out a couple years ago when we were getting inundated with freezing rain and stuff, that just a simple paint scraper really takes the ice off of stuff nice. Well, let's see if I can do this one-handed. So the sheets are 4x8, but they're shrink a little bit for the tongue and groove. So what I'm going to do is put a line so that it kind of evens out on both ends, leaving a little space at 48.5. I'll do that on the other side and snap a line across, and that'll be my edge of my sheeting. I sure wish this wind would stop though. Kind of cold. So I'll do 48.5 on this side, 48.5 on that side. We'll snap a string line. Okay, I put a mark at 48.5 because the sheeting is 48 inches plus or minus the tongue. So we lose roughly 1/4 inch on each sheet. So by starting out at 48.5, I'll end up with about a 1/2 inch gap on that side. And by the time I get over that side, it'll be 1/2 inch there too. Now, I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but you see a black chalk line all the way across. I like black, but you gotta be careful where you use it because it's permanent. You'll never get it off. So now, what I do is get the glue out. And I'm just using some sort of subfloor adhesive. Okay, simple as that. We just put a nice little amount of glue along there. And this will help bind everything together, but then also help keep any floor squeaks out. Nothing worse than stepping on a spot on a new construction floor and then having to hear a squeak. So that side nice and square, and then we come up on this side and make sure we're on our line. And boom, dead on. This is what I was telling everybody so long-windedly like in the last video. See how my first sheet, which is a full 8-footer, breaks center of that floor joist? That's why those 16s are so important. Now we will just continue screwing off this sheet, move on and do the same thing to our next sheet. But now we'll start out with a 4-foot piece. I'll cut one of these in half. And as you see, if I center my tape on that, 48 inches comes right there. Not to be repetitious, but 16s centers works for 2-foot centers also. If you start out true, square, and level, everything comes out nice and neat. As I was saying earlier, 24-foot long building, 3 sheets come out perfectly from that end to this end. And if you check out the square, look at that. Look at where my black line is, if you can see it. It's nice all the way down. That's the way you want to build. If you start getting off at the start, it'll be off at the finish. And a lot of times it'll just multiply. Now I always like the cut edge going to the outside of the building so that you're butting a factory edge to a factory edge on the floor. Same thing with walls, stuff. And I always also like to start at the side I start layout from. And these things always need a little persuasion. So you have your sledgehammer and block of wood so you don't mess up the roof. Just like so, easy peasy. Now our tongue is in that groove nice and tight. We're centered on our line. We have nothing overhung. Now time to screw off some more. Okay guys, second course is done now. Those are the 4s, one on either end. Next one will be 3/8 again. You want to break these seams up just for the simple fact that it makes for a stronger building. But it hasn't gotten no warmer out here. That wind picked up a little bit. And just like that, the deck is all glued and screwed. At the beginning there, this is what I was talking about. That's why I held it at 48 and a half. Now we got about the same distance on this side as that we do on that side. I don't know if you can see that real well. It's about 3/4 of an inch. But yeah, so all glued and screwed. Kind of looks like I'm endorsing DeWalt here. I just always liked their cordless tools.